I used to order a lot of takeout. I would get in these cycles where I was ordering it almost every single day and eating to the point where I could barely move. And I hated myself. But then I would do it again. I hated planning food, preparing food, thinking about what to eat. It was just chaos. And somehow today I'm a psychotherapist and I help other people heal their relationship with food. So if you think you are struggling with ordering too much takeout, I've got 5, I don't like the word tips, so I'm going to say I've got 5 offerings for you that may help. And they are a combination of psychological and emotional shifts as well as practical. Too often people keep focusing on trying to change the practical, but they haven't shifted their thinking or how they feel, so they keep reverting back to old behaviors. So when you have a psychological and emotional shift, and there's some practical, there's a lovely confluence that happens that makes change possible. The first thing I want you to get clear in your mind is, why is ordering takeout a problem for you? Irrespective of whether ordering takeout is bad, I don't think it is, but I'm going to park that aside for now. I'll come back to it. But why is it a problem for you? I know there are many negative consequences that you may be experiencing with your takeout habits. It could be that you feel like you should be eating healthier, or you're trying to lose weight. Or maybe it's costing you a lot of money that you don't really have spare. Maybe that ordering food in the frequency and quantities that you are is just making you feel mentally and physically rubbish. And I'm asking you this because ordering takeout isn't bad. And it's okay to say that something isn't bad and still feel like you need to change it because you feel like it's harming you. The first offering is the basis for everything else I'm going to talk about, because without it, none of the other stuff will help. And it's this, that you have got to. And if you watch my channel a lot, you will know I rarely say that you've got to. But that's how strongly I feel about it. You have got to release this guilt. Now you might be thinking, 1, that sounds impossible. And 2, you might be thinking, but if I let go of the guilt, I'm just okay with my behavior, but then nothing's going to change. There is a battle going on inside you. There is part of you that is drawn to ordering the takeout and part of you that's saying, no, we shouldn't do this. And removing the guilt is like taking the weapons away from both sides. There's still a conflict there that we need to resolve, but maybe now the 2 sides are going to attack each other less, because each time you are fighting with yourself, you are attacking yourself because you are both sides of the conflict. The conflict being, do I order the takeaway? Do I not order the takeaway? The problem when you think you are doing this bad thing by ordering the takeaway is you then feel like you are bad for doing the bad thing. And the most corrosive thing about guilt in this specific situation is that it is so problematic to have that experience of, I feel guilt before I've done the thing. Because when you feel guilty before you're about to do the bad thing, it is impossible to make a clear and peaceful decision. Releasing the guilt is about freeing up mental energy to weigh up the pros and cons, to gently negotiate with yourself. But for as long as you think, I shouldn't be doing this and I feel bad that I'm doing this, it will feel impossible to get your opposing parts to agree. The second offering that I want to make is to give yourself a reactionary gap. Now, I took this phrase from police officer training, but the idea being is that there is a stimulus that then creates a behavior. So with ordering takeout, the stimulus is simply going to be, it might be a thought that you want to take out, it might be a time of day when it's time to make a decision about what to eat, it might be hunger, or it might be a craving that seems to hit you out of nowhere. And so that stimulus comes, and the thing is now we can pick up that phone, tap, tap, and the food's on its way to us. So the reason behind these offerings is to reduce that build-up of pressure so that you can hear what it is you might really need right now. Sometimes that might be the takeout, and sometimes that might be something else. But then your choices start to feel like choices rather than compulsions and impulsiveness. So there's no gap to really stop and make a decision between the stimulus, the desire for the takeout, and then ordering the takeout. And we want to create a bit of space. Now, if you're not too stressed and overwhelmed, if you're not battling with yourself, You may be able to offer this to yourself by simply pausing and trying to make an intentional decision. This is only going to be possible if you are allowed to order the takeout. Because if you are allowed, then you'll be able to make a free choice. Because I'm guessing if you're watching this video and you think this is a problem, this probably feels more like a compulsion than that you are truly choosing this for yourself. If you're someone who really does struggle with impulsivity and it would feel too hard to do that, then you might want to externally create that. You may want to delete the apps and allow yourself to go onto the desktop on your computer and order from there. Or maybe you decide, I'm not going to order through the apps, but I can order direct from the restaurant or food outlet. I can pick up the phone and actually speak to a person. If you're anything like me, you might have had that experience where there's this build-up of pressure and then you go for it, you're like, F it, I'm going to do it. You order the food, and then the minute you hit confirm, the pressure kind of comes down, and then you think, I don't even know if I actually want it anymore, but it's on its way, so I guess this is happening. The challenge is, if the guilt is too high, you won't want to stop and think, which is why that part has to come first. And then the third offering, which is about really, again, working on this reactionary, compulsive, or impulsive response to order the takeaway, is to plan to have it in advance. What? Am I telling you to order more takeaways? What I mean by this is, in order to work on the guilt piece, is it might be on Monday you say, okay, on Thursday, I'm going to order this from one of my favorite takeout places. And the decision, it wasn't reactive, it wasn't impulsive. I made it a few days ago in a time where I felt really grounded and thought, yes, I think that is what I would genuinely enjoy having. So then you have a different mental and emotional experience of ordering the food because there is no battle. This is a way of practicing having the food when it's not because this pressure has built up and now you've ordered the food and so the pressure's come down again. There was no pressure build up because it was decided ahead of time. It's to practice having these foods in a non-impulsive or compulsive way. It sounds counterintuitive, but it can completely transform your experience of even having the food. When there isn't that real build-up of craving and desire that gets relieved by it, you get to experience the food a little bit more just for what it is. Maybe you realize that yes, it is just as delicious as you thought, or maybe you realize it wasn't as good as you thought. You're much clearer to really experience and get your own feedback because you didn't have it at the end of battling with yourself. And just on the point of battling with yourself, because there would be times when I would be in a fight with myself about it and then just have that F it moment, I'm just going to order it. And there'd be other times where it would feel like there was no fight at all. I would just think about it and I've done it. I don't even let myself think about it, because if I think about it, then the battle will start. And I used to feel more guilty with the second one. I thought, at least if I tried to resist and I tried to battle myself, but I lost after a valiant attempt. And don't get me wrong, I didn't feel good about that, but I felt worse when I thought, you didn't even try and stop yourself. But I think it's because our brains anticipate. Sometimes we don't have the energy to battle with ourselves. So if I'm using this word battle and it's not relating to you, I just wanted to offer that perspective, that it doesn't make this any less valid if you have decided not to battle with yourself anymore. It doesn't mean it's any less of a compulsion. This one is going to sound a bit basic, but as you're probably aware, for a lot of deliveries, there's a minimum spend. And often we're encouraged to order more and more food. And particularly if you are ordering food in a binge mode, it may very well be that the food is just for you. You're not sharing it with anybody. So my fourth offering is just a very simple, embrace the leftovers. I think a lot of the time I ate as much as I did was because I didn't want there to be any tomorrow. Because tomorrow I'm gonna do better. It's classic Last Supper eating. And it's one of the reasons why this having permission doesn't mean going unconscious and not thinking about your food choices at all. It's trying to reduce the inner conflict so that we can figure out what decision we might need to make. And sometimes that decision might be a yes, and sometimes that decision might be a not now. I talk about this concept in other videos, I will link below, but the idea is that it's never a yes or no decision when you are trying to decide whether to order a takeaway or whether to eat something. It is a now or not now decision. Because most of the time you can order it in the future. So rather than saying to yourself no and risking like the rebel coming up, it's just, am I going to have this now? Am I going to have this at another time? Again, check out the videos below for a bit more on that concept. A while ago, I was ordering a pizza online and there was a deal where any size pizza was the same price. When I saw that, I was like, oh man, I don't want to spend that on little individual pizza. So I thought about it. I thought, okay. I got a bigger pizza and I thought, I am going to have the other half of that pizza tomorrow. And I did. I had pizza 2 days in a row. Would I do that regularly? I don't think that would be wise for me. But that comes from a very kind of, I could, but is that what I really want for myself place? As opposed to, oh, pizza is bad and I shouldn't have pizza 2 days in a row. And the fifth offering that I want to make. If you are anything like I was, I didn't trust myself to have certain foods in the house because I was convinced, and history had proved to me, that I would only overeat them. And this proves a challenge when you have the apps on your phone and you can get food delivered to you like that. So I think another reason why I would be more inclined to order these takeouts was because there wasn't anything else in the house that was enticing to me at that time. If you are not leaving yourself many options, the takeaway option is always going to look the most desirable. If money was one of the reasons for you about ordering takeout, maybe you're of a mindset where you think, well, I could never order an oven pizza with my weekly shop because I shouldn't be eating pizza. So then if you fancy pizza, you've got to spend 20 quid getting a pizza delivered to you in that moment. One of the things that helps me with this is I order Gusto recipe boxes. Because they get delivered to me, I don't have to think and make all the planning decisions, which is actually one of the things I dislike the most out of cooking and preparing food, is the deciding and getting the ingredients. And there's also something in me that really doesn't want to waste when I've ordered this, so then I'm more inclined to cook it even when I don't feel like it. And this helps from a balance perspective. So I don't have enough Gusto meals for every single day of the week, but it helps me for the most part cook at home. And then I still have other days and freedom to go out for meals or to order something in if I need to order something in. If you're in the UK and you're interested in trying Gusto, I'll pop my friends and family link below. You get a discount and I get a little something too. But if you're approaching food in a really black and white, all or nothing way, and you're buying all these foods and thinking, oh, I should be eating salads and protein and vegetables and it has to all look like this, when that desire for the takeaway hits, and especially when you feel yourself going, I think I'm going to do it, it's like everything's out the window. It's the ultimate all or nothing thinking. And my whole approach and thinking is around learning how to tread a middle path. If you feel like you're someone who needs to take a black and white approach with this and find a way to never order takeout, like I'm fine with that. I'm fine with anybody doing what works for them. I just know that every time I tried to do it, there was a rebel, there was something in me, which I haven't got rid of my rebel, but I know now how to negotiate with her. But if I start trying to slip back into black and white, all or nothing thinking around food, she'll kick off again. And this was why I had to learn to find the middle path. Anyway, I hope this was helpful and I will see you on the next video.